Tank Scoggins.
So fast, team hitting with a punch.
Scoggins kept it back quickly.
And it's under. Shane looks out.
There. Out is out. Ray Borg. Oh. Scoggins with a beautiful right hook. Big shots with that right hand. Justin Scoggins.
So Ray Borg down.
Ray Borg.
Another win by way of submission. Doesn't need more of that. Oh, there's that hook kick we talked about. Lead leg. Oh, front kicks in the face.
The future of the 125-pound division will be profiled live right here on Fight Network when Ray Borg collides with Justin Scoggins. It is going to be a sensational tilt. All you have to look at is Borg 22, Scoggins 23, and for these two youngsters to be as talented, as skilled, and as experienced as they are at this young of age, man, just the future, the idea of the future of these two, remarkable.
You know what else? They fight young.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That, like, I can't be beat, I can't be hurt. That risk-taking mentality that everybody had when they were 15, 18, 20, 22. These guys fight with that real sense of risk. No risk, no reward kind of fighting. Scoggins up on one leg fearlessly. He'll throw his legs, he lets it open, they're both thinking offensively all the time. Borg at 5'4" with a little shorter reach and with his collection of skills, he wants to close the distance, and he's one of those rare flyweights that seems to be able to track you down. It's hard to corner a flyweight. It's not just what you're doing, it's what he's doing. In that meta game at flyweight, mobility, but if he gets you and he gets your back, he'll grind you down. He's great from the top, and he took our buddies here and just about took his arm off. You saw you choke to unconsciousness, and yeah, this is a talented guy, an athletic grappler, and he wants to get in and take away some of that young urgency from Scoggins.
I like his two cool, really tough camps, Fit NHB and New Mexico. Of course, Tim Means was there, Carlos Condit was there at one time, so you see the mentality of those fighters. Ray Borg is a guy, as you mentioned, sometimes they fight a very risky style. Is that important? Because we've been having this conversation about 125 pounds. Demetrius Johnson clearly ruling that division with an iron fist, but because the division is wide open, you need a signature victory. You have to have a victory that people are talking about. And is that why they have the style that they have? Or is it just the fact that they're so inexperienced, but based on the fact that they are so young?
I think it's a bit of all of that. And I mean, look at this. You squash a guy down and start pounding on him, blood and gut style fighting. That's the game of youth for sure. As guys get older, they start to think about self-preservation, and as your skills develop, your ability to move your head develops, your ability to catch traffic in front of you develops, you get better positioning in the cage. It is both. It's the combination of I'm going after him and I don't care what happens, with just sort of that recklessness and that urgency of youth. And it does make for really exciting fights when you get two guys like that, especially with different collections of skills.
And you do know that these guys, the goal is to be the best martial artist possible, but the goal for any fighter, I think, competing at the highest level is to get themselves into a position where they're fighting for the title. And both guys have a loss to Dustin Ortiz, who we all recognize as one of the top guys at 125 pounds, had a really solid performance against Wilson Hayes, who just solved the riddle of Dustin Ortiz, figured a way to shut this guy down by using his grappling. But for Scoggins and Borg to already face a guy like Ortiz, you know that they're going to be prepared to face anybody in the top five.
You know what's interesting, I never thought about this before, but you point out often, and you're very right, that you come in at flyweight, you have a big debut, maybe you finish somebody in spectacular fashion in the second one, and all of a sudden everybody says you're one win away, or you're the young guy that is going to be in there fighting against Demetrius Johnson. But if you look at in these days, between you, wherever you are, 15 or 17, and Demetrius Johnson, look at what you got to go through now. With Wilson Hayes just beating, one guy, Ortiz, who just beat these guys, it's a little steeper climb now. So you do want to have exciting fights so you stand out.
And I mean, you look at Justin Scoggins, we talked already about how young he is. 2 losses in his mixed martial arts career. John Moraga, who fought for the title, and as I mentioned, Dustin Ortiz. He's not afraid to jump into the deep end of the pool. And is that something that he should be doing, considering the fact that he is still so young and does have a bright future?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I do like the difference that we see in mixed martial arts with a young guy. It's like, you're going to have 10 fights over the next 3 years. You're only going to be 25. Yeah, if you win 7 of them, you're going to be in spectacular shape. In boxing, we'd be like, well, you're going to have 10 fights over the next 4 years. They're all going to be against very low-level guys. We're going to take no risk. You're not going to learn to deal with risk. You're not going to learn to overcome adversity. That's how boxing has taken shape. You lose once, and everybody takes you out of that picture of the future champion. In real fighting, in mixed martial arts, let's win 7 of those 10 fights, and you could be the champion.
I mean, mixed martial arts, combat sports is certainly all risky, but our main event of the prelims, KJ-Noons, Josh Burkman, a risky proposition for both guys at 105 pounds. KJ-Noons, we haven't seen a whole lot of him. He burst onto the scene back in the Elite XC days, has that victory over Nick Diaz, stopped our buddy Sam Stout, but people really haven't seen a whole lot from him. We do know he possesses knockout power, kind of that Chuck Liddell advanced style where I have grappling, I have wrestling, but I am here to knock you unconscious and get myself a bonus.
You saw a little wobble as he threw that left hand, wobbled off to his right. It's something Dominic Cruz uses now. You see how fully developed he is, had some solid kickboxing in his game too. There was a nice blast double in that highlight reel too, but yeah, you're right. It would be a great place to be a KJ-Noons. I think he's married to a model. He's a prize fighter who enjoys his fights. People love watching him fight. He doesn't inject himself into controversy and debate and stuff. He just makes a nice living, goes in there, and it's hard to be able to read him. When he fought Sam, it was a quick fake takedown. Watch the little level change. It's just enough to freeze Sam. Watch. There. Just drops his level over the top. You're right, that was a Chuck Liddell special right there. Hated seeing Sam go down like that. But KJ has that real power. Nobody, I don't believe it ever knocked Sam out or down to that level ever before that. And real skill guy, you're right, there's not as much to research on him. You think you know what he is, but he's gonna have some tricks for you.
What about Josh Burkman, a guy that is very, very experienced, been in this game for a long time, mentored by some of the pioneers of mixed martial arts, now at 155 pounds after that loss to Pat Cote, but we know what he's capable of.
Yeah, super heart, too. Against Hector, he showed a ton of heart in that one, closed the door there nice with the left hook. Stayed right in it with Pat Cote, who we've seen how far he's developed. Burkman is one of those guys who's gonna, as long as he's gonna wanna keep fighting, he's gonna be able to excite you somewhere between, number 7 or 8 and number 20, put on an exciting fight every night, but he's got to win too. And wow, did Pat ever label him with that right hand? And I think he kept in that fight for a while too. Lots of heart, lots of skill, fun to watch. It's going to be a great main event for the prelims.
What do you anticipate the strategy is for Josh Burkman? We clearly know he's an athlete, a very coachable athlete. Is patience the name of the game in here? Because we've seen from KJ-Noons, all it takes is one shot and you're on the canvas. And Josh Burkman also possesses knockout power, but he doesn't want to get trapped. KJ-Noons very, very crafty and can set traps for you.
Yeah, the game is changing so fast. Just last week, much to our buddy Gabe's chagrin, we saw Ryan Bader shoot in immediately because you can look at it and your coach will say, let's get this to the ground. Why don't we get in, engage him in the wrestling, take him down or strike him as he disengages, and boom, flatten. Bam. You don't want to do that against KJ either, so you can't just become a wrestler in this fight, but I think we want to grapple heavy. We want to put him on the fence. We want to look a little more, like glued to him, maybe on that back hip a bit, get in behind him, tire him down a little.
Ton of great action going down in Sin City at the MGM Grand Garden, and we are getting you set for the main event. Johnny Hendricks taking on Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Our preview show is set to go down Saturday at 7 p.m. And then keep it locked here on Fight Network for all the preliminary action, including that matchup between KJ-Noons and Josh Burkman, as well as Justin Scoggins and Ray Borg.